to Bass Talk with Freekbass. Hope you are having an amazing week so far. I just got back a few days ago from Philadelphia, teaching at the amazing Gerald Veasley's Bass Boot Camp, which is incredible. If you're a bass player, I can't recommend it enough. It was so fun teaching there. Met so many incredible students. Just the vibe was just amazing there. There was so much love for music and for being around each other and for bass. And it's just, if you're interested, just go bassbootcamp.com. And I think they're already starting to register for the next one, which I believe is in March of 2022. But anyway, but we're here now. I'm back in Cincinnati, and if this is your first time tuning in, I'm here every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. That's 6 p.m. Pacific time for you people on the other coast. And I am here at the Facebook page. If you're watching on Facebook, hello, which is facebook.com freekbassmusic. Now over at YouTube as well, which is youtube.com the Freekbass channel. So please hit the thumbs up if you're digging it, and please subscribe. And over at Twitch too, which is twitch.com/freekbass. More on Twitch in a little bit. But we're here every week. We talk everything bass, whether it be techniques, unboxings, pedal reviews, bass reviews, you name it, anything bass related. We're all about it here. And so if you got your bass and you're a bass player, grab your bass, sit down. If you're not a bass player, and we have a lot of people that are just music fans, too, bass fans, which is awesome. Sit back and hang out, and I'm glad you're here too as well, and maybe think about getting a bass one day. I can tell you from this past week in Philadelphia, the world would be an amazing place if everybody would play bass. I mean, I think all our problems would be solved. So all you gotta do is play bass. That's easy. It's easy. That's how you figure. Maybe I'll run for president one day, and that'll be my main platform, is to play. Everybody gets a bass sent to their house, which I would be down with that. So, but what we're here to talk about today is a technique, which I think is a really cool technique that you might want to try with some of your own playing, some of your own bass lines. I call it the hard mute bounce. It's kind of like almost like a staccato-ish kind of sounding technique, but it evolves a lot with your left hand. And you heard me kind of, as we open the show, I always try to give an example as we start off, kind of what we're going to get into. It's basically what you're doing. The idea for this I got from watching a lot of keyboard players, especially like clavinet players, like someone like a Stevie Wonder or Bernie Worrell. Whenever they're playing clav, it's like they're almost kind of like poking at the notes. They're not fully coming down on the notes. It's almost kind of like, almost like a typewriter. You're kind of typing at the notes. And so you have different amount of, the amount of heaviness you come down on that note makes the note sound differently, especially on touch sensitive keyboards like a clavinet or a touch sensitive synthesizer, stuff like that. And I was wondering, I wonder if I can kind of mimic that on bass. And so I started kind of messing around with that technique on bass a little bit. And this is also really good if you have breakdowns. Like say if you're playing, you have a song that has like a breakdown, and you still want to keep that thump and that umph to the thing. A lot of times, like here's the bass line I'm playing. I'm going to play it without the hard mute bounce first. So it's like this. Okay, so that's the bass line I was starting with. But usually like when you would think to break down, if like your band leaders, you're sitting here like rocking out that groove, and all of a sudden someone says, okay, break it down. So you naturally want to play, oh, break it down, play it softer. Like that. Well, the only thing about that though is, that will bring the dynamic level down in terms of volume, but you're going to lose a lot of that thump still. So how can you dynamically bring it down but still have that thump? And that's kind of another nice thing about the hard mute, what the hard mute bounce does too. And so what you're doing essentially, let's jump right into it. What we're doing, let me show you the line I'm playing real quick first. If you want to mimic the exact line I'm playing, you can do that, or you can use it with any of your own lines. But what I'm doing is going, so it's E, D on your G string, 9, 7, and then 9, D, 7, G, 9, D, 7, 5, 7, 5 on the D, 7A, 5D, 7, 5A, 7E, 5A, 7, 5, 3, 0 on the E. Or I go go back up to, I hammer back up to the 5 to 7 on the 8 for that E, okay? And you can see I did that little slide from that little flat 5 thing, 5, 6, back to 5 on E too. All right, so that's the line. And so what we do to create that hard mute bounce sound, basically what you're doing is I'm not fully pressing down on the fingerboard. Like I'm not putting all my weight down like that. Like it's hard to see probably on this video, but I'm not fully pushing the fretboard all the way down, all the way. I'm like, but now the key is too, on my right hand, I'm still playing just as heavy as if I was pushing it all the way down, okay? So it's not like when you play, like you let off a little bit of the pressure over here, you don't want to start playing softer over here. This is what still keeps that thump, because you're still having that sound of that string, getting that umph out of that string. Like that too, all the way across. So what you want to do, so kind of, I think maybe a good way to kind of jump into this feat first is to think of like a scale, okay? Like something that you know, like say a C major scale. We'll make it super easy. See, everybody probably knows C major scale. So play it once like that, just like you normally would, normal C major scale. Then do it once where you're literally putting your fingers over those frets, but not pushing the fretboard down. Getting a lot of harmonics in there, as you can see. That sounds kind of cool too as well. Now the hard mute bounce is somewhere in the middle. It's not fully pressed down. It's not, it's kind of, I'm not fully, again, not fully pressing down on the fretboard. You could just do it on one note, like push down, let off, and then somewhere in the middle. Now another thing that'll help with that too is it's a constant up and down motion too. It's like, you know, more like this, you know, with the keyboard. Even when I was doing the major scale, I'm not doing legato notes, obviously. Like that all the way across, okay? So with this line, turns into... When you put a little beat on that, and I put a couple little harmonies in here on my loop station, as I always do, to give it a little more musical vibe, you kind of got this vibe happening. That's it right there. Like all you heard me doing, I was doing the other kind of like I was looping another lick on top. I wasn't going. I was doing the hard mute bounce thing where I was like literally not pushing the note down. You know, with that. And you can just get so many different tonalities. I always say this, you know, our hands you know, singers can use their diaphragm, or they can sing louder, or trumpet players can, you know, tighten their embouchure, or, you know, sax players can push a little harder. Everything we do to create that music make something more musical is all in our hands. So the more we can get play going with not just playing the notes correctly, but also like the pressure we apply on both our left and our right hand, that's going to just open up a bunch of new worlds for you. So, you know, you could do two things. One, do the scale thing I was doing. Two, well, actually three things. Two, mimic the exact bass line I'm doing, trying to mimic that sound. Or three, take a bass line you already know really well, whether you wrote it or it's a bass line you learn, and try to apply the hard mute bounce to that. Try to make those notes, you know, really, you know, here's it with full, press down one more time. Hard mute bounce style. Really makes a really big difference all the way across on a lot of things. So let me know if you have any questions. All right, leave any comments down. I answer every single comment. Okay, for those that I saw you last week in Philadelphia, it was so great meeting so many of you. Amazing time. I hope to meet many more. If I could I want to meet a bass player a day for the rest of my life, and I'd be a happy camper. So that's it. Join me Saturday night. I'm back for Saturday night chit chat this week. Saturday night, that's live stream 9 p.m. Eastern time. That's on the Facebook channel, Freekbass Music. And I always have great guests coming up. I'm working on a couple for this week, and lots of other stuff. So just please stay in touch. You know, again, if you're on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button and please subscribe. Thank you all so much. Play more bass.